Mo Yan, born in Gaomi County, Shandong Province, China, is a famous contemporary Chinese writer. His representative works include Red Sorghum, The Sandalwood Death, Big Breasts and Wide Hips, Frog, etc., among which Frog won the 8th Mao Dun Literature Award. On October 11, 2012, Mo Yan was awarded the 2012 Nobel Prize in Literature. The award speech stated that Mo Yan integrated folk stories, history, and modernity with magical realism. Former Nobel Prize Committee Chairman Shel S. Mark once said that the term magical realism would lead people to mistakenly associate Mo Yan with Latin American literature. Although Mo Yan's writing was influenced by Marquez, his hallucinatory realism mainly comes from ancient Chinese narrative art such as Chinese myths and folk tales and the works of Pu Songling. Mo Yan made the Chinese-style storytelling more legal, and they let Chinese writers know that they can use their traditional art to write. So, combining the unreal with reality is Mo Yan's own creation, because combining traditional Chinese narrative art with modern realism is his own creation. Mo Yan's sharp-tongued style is mainly reflected in his sharp criticism of social phenomena and profound insight into human nature. Mo Yan is said to have created Chinese-style magical realism. Mo Yan's writing style is full of vitality and energy, with words imbued with deep inner pleasure through strong metaphors. The characters in his works are often eloquent, satirical, or have an unkempt sense of humor. At the end of 2014, Mo Yan was awarded an honorary doctorate in literature by the Chinese University of Hong Kong. At the awards ceremony, Mo Yan gave a speech titled, "How I Became a Writer." He described himself as follows: "I have a prejudice that literary works are never tools for singing praises. Literature and art should expose darkness, reveal social injustice, and also reveal the dark side of the human soul, revealing the elements of evil." Mo Yan was born in the 1950s. From poverty in his childhood to world-renowned fame today, he can be said to be a man who has experienced many ups and downs. Coupled with his unique vision and thoughts as a writer, his understanding of society is a shocking narrative. In his works, there are often descriptions of complex human nature and indictments of the times and the world. In short, the saying, "Never stop until your words are shocking," is extremely appropriate for Mo Yan. Mo Yan, a lonely soul, a true warrior, a conscience of the times. Human nature is light because of darkness. Society, without darkness, there is no light. Mo Yan enables us to perceive light in the darkness. Today we go together to feel the light in the darkness of humanity and to see the darkness in the light in our society. The ugliness of human nature is to find good points in powerful and immoral people. When powerless and kind people are hurt, people still stand on the moral high ground and hypocritically persuade powerless and kind people to be patient and magnanimous. This is how everything in the world is. Small villains and monsters are hated by others, while big villains and monsters are admired by others. When you are weak, helping others is sometimes a thankless task and is considered as fawning. When you are strong, you don't need to help others, but just say a word of encouragement and the other party will be particularly touched. Conscience is like a talent. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. There is no way to awaken it. If you don't have enough strength, don't carry heavy objects. If you are in a low position, don't advise others. Human nature is to admire the strong. When you are at the bottom, you may be useless in the eyes of others. When our energy is weak, it is best to remain silent and not express any opinions to others. Even if you are absolutely right, no one will pay attention to you, but you will be ridiculed. Only when people know their own ignorance can they become humble from the bottom of their hearts, no longer relying on their talents to be arrogant and aggressive. The most taboo thing in the world is perfection. Look at the moon in the sky. Once it is full, it will soon be waning. The fruit on the tree will soon fall once it is ripe. Everything must be slightly imperfect in order to be permanent. Because he sees the true face of the world, he always keeps a certain distance from it. 4 truths in life. Coming is accidental. Going is inevitable. Do your best, and let nature take its course. When a person lives in this world, he should live for the people who like him. This is the best attitude. Everyone has a blind spot from which they cannot get out, and others cannot break into. I keep my deepest secrets there. You don't understand me. I don't blame you. When your talent cannot support your ambition, you should calm down and study. When your ability cannot control your goals, you should calm down and practice. When everyone is crying, some people should be allowed not to cry. When crying becomes a performance, some people should be allowed not to cry. This is how things are in the world. No matter how high the mountain is, birds will fly over it. No matter how dense the net is, fish will swim through it. Loving someone else requires a price, but loving yourself does not. I can love myself the way I want. People with good nature mature late and are forced to mature by bad people. Although they become wise later, they are still kind and sincere. They keep looking for people of the same kind, but in the end they become the loneliest one. In this world, there will always be people you don't like, and there will always be people who don't like you. This is normal. Moreover, no matter how good you are, and no matter how good the other person is, you can't be too demanding of each other. If you try to please others deliberately, you will only lose your dignity. Don't bow your head countless times in exchange for an indifferent lowering of your eyebrows. What you get in return for your humility is only the other person's increasing condescension and bossing. Without looking at each other at eye level, there will never be equality. A person should know his position, just like a person knows his face. This is the most clear-headed consciousness. A clean face is always more beautiful than a face covered with makeup. So, do what you can do, and do it to the best of your ability. This is the most important thing in life. My child, many of the great things in this world are done in the dark. People in the world love to call normal people crazy. Instead of struggling with people you don't like or who don't like you, it's better to take a happy walk under these auspicious clouds. Why do flowers smell of blood? Because the earth is soaked with human blood. Where is society? This is an endless, dark jungle. Where is happiness? Only a momentary empty pleasure between the thorns of suffering. Extremely exaggerated language is a reflection of an extremely hypocritical society, and violent language is a precursor to social atrocities. If there is no wine in the world, what is the point of men's life? If men do not love beauty, what is the hope of women? If marriage is only for procreation, what is the point of life? If men and women are both content, what is the point of writers writing? If literature does not write about wine and sex, what is the point of writing? If men are not addicted to wine and sex, who would be willing to suffer? If wine and sex do not move you, wouldn't life come to an end? People should have the ability to turn the page. If you insist on not giving up, you will be imprisoned. There are no truly happy people in this world, only people who can think positively. You should always believe that all the desperate situations have their twists and turns, and even a pile of feathers can be rubbed into a feather duster. Setbacks are often accelerators of growth. The more cowardly and useless a person is in real life, the more capable he or she can be in literary works. Literature is about doing things that people dare not do or cannot do in real life. People are not afraid of making mistakes. If you can learn from your mistakes and reflect on them, they will become lessons. I think every teenager wants to succeed, but success must start with self-confidence, which may start with an unintentional encouragement from family or teachers. All that comes from the land will return to the land. It's nothing too much to fall in love with anything when you're young, and nothing's wrong to give up when you're mature. We spend our whole lives looking for someone with a soul similar to our own, and ultimately find that the only one who fits the mold is ourselves. People are products of the environment. Under certain special circumstances, cowards can become warriors, robbers can do good deeds, and even those who are so stingy that they don't have a penny can spend a lot of money. When people come to this world, there will always be a lot of dissatisfaction and unfairness. There will be a lot of loss and a lot of envy. You envy my freedom, and I envy your constraints. You envy my car, and I envy your house. You envy my work, and I envy that you always have time to rest every day. The most stupid thing in the world is to go to someone who doesn't like you and ask why. If you don't like it, you just don't like it. There's no reason why. Some people are born to love you, and some people are destined to teach you lessons. Falling out of love is a fortune, especially for those who are engaged in artistic creation. Without the painful tempering of falling out of love, it is impossible to enter the highest realm of artistic creation. When I'm not dreaming, everything is just a dream. Only when I'm dreaming, everything is real. Sometimes, you may not see someone passing by, even if you look back countless times. Sometimes, you may not be treated as an angel, even if you show your angelic heart. If the other person doesn't like you, they won't bother to pretend to be an angel for you. No one needs to play along. Although temporary false feelings can comfort and intoxicate people, they will eventually leave behind the pain of evasion and the wounds of perfunctory treatment. First, the so-called happiness is based on ignorance. Second, no matter how big the fish tank is, it is not as big as the ocean. The reason why a big man can become a big man is that he can endure suffering and humiliation that ordinary people cannot endure, such as Han Xin, who can endure the humiliation of his crotch, Confucius, who can endure the hunger of Chen Kai, and Sun Bin, who can swallow his own feces. People in a civilized society are all drama actors, film actors, TV drama actors, opera actors, crosstalk actors, and sketch actors. Everyone is acting. Isn't society just a big stage? Without suffering, how can one achieve enlightenment? Without suffering, how can one gain enlightenment in life? It's not difficult for a person to do bad things, but it's hard not to do good things all his life. The best way to solve the problem is to wait and see what happens, and go with the flow. People in the 1950s were relatively pure. People in the 1960s were very fanatical. People in the 1970s were quite timid. People in the 1980s were observant. And people in the 1990s were extremely evil. Hey, it is said that people live on a breath, but it is better to say that people live on a mouthful of food. If there is food in the stomach, you have a good face. If there is no food in the stomach, you have no shame. What others see are the shoes, but what you feel are your feet. Don't covet the luxury of the shoes and hurt your feet. Money is like underwear. You have to have it, but you don't have to prove it to everyone you meet. If you succeed, all your farts are justified. If you fail, no matter how reasonable you are, they are just farts. Being alone is to avoid acting with others. Not fighting is to let go of your own heart. Men like women's pretty faces, and women like men's sweet words. Appearances and words may attract people, but sincerity and substance are the cornerstones of a long-lasting relationship. Stay awake, don't be fooled by appearances, and find people who truly connect with you. Once the arrow is shot, there is no turning back. No matter what you start, you must finish it. Talent and ambition need to match. If your current ability is not enough to support your dreams and goals, then it is the wisest choice to calm down and learn and improve yourself. Sometimes fate seems irresistible, but we can choose how to face it. Cherish the present, live positively, and let fate become a helper rather than an obstacle to your growth. Men need money to cover up their lies, and women need money to put on makeup. There are many stops on the road of life, and some people will always become passers-by. No matter how much we miss each other, they will eventually drift away. There is an unspeakable pain in everyone's heart. It is the softest place. Although it is usually well covered up, once it is touched, it will involve the whole heart and cause a dull pain. Sincerity is closest to sadness. People who don't get emotional easily, once they get emotional, will burn themselves into ashes. Some people are forgotten inadvertently. Some people you can't forget, no matter what you try. If a person particularly wants to become something but never becomes it, then this something will become what he dreams about all his life. In love, there is always a protagonist and a supporting role. The protagonist is always tired, and the supporting role is always hurt. There is no free lunch in the world. The gift given by fate has already been secretly marked with a price. The house full of wealth and treasures may not be as magnanimous as a house with nothing but walls. A person at the top of the mountain may not be as free as those at the foot of the mountain. You should use your efforts and strength to amaze time instead of wasting it by complaining and waiting. Less interference, more understanding. To oneself, this is self-cultivation. To others, this is compassion. Money is just a piece of paper. If it is not spent, it becomes money if it is spent. When people are alive, they think there is a lot of time and opportunities for everything. But in fact, life is subtraction. Every time you meet someone, it means one less time. As long as your heart is clean, no dirt can stick to you. Many things in life are destined by fate. It is better to sail with the current than to row against it. Only by moving forward can one leave the shadow behind. If you want something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours forever. If it doesn't, it never belonged to you. A person cries because he is in pain. A person feels pain because he cares. A person cares because he has feelings. A person has feelings only because you are a person. Therefore, if you have feelings, care, have been hurt, and shed tears, it means that you are a complete person who cannot be more complete. When you are sad, forgive yourself. You are just a person. There is no need to see yourself as so indestructible. When I was a child, I hoped I could grow up quickly. When I grew up, I found that I had lost my childhood. When I was single, I began to envy the sweetness of lovers. When I was in love, I missed the freedom of being single. Many things always seem beautiful when we don't have them. Only after we get them we begin to understand we are losing at the same time as we are gaining. In this world, no one can truly empathize with another person's pain. You may be pierced by thousands of arrows and feel pain, but this is only your own business. Others may sympathize with you or sigh, but they will never know how rotten your wound is. In life, one is destined to suffer many grievances. The more successful a person is, the more grievances he suffers. Time cannot be cut off. What is cut is nonsense, and what is left is time. If you understand life, you won't spoil anyone. You can't spoil people. The more you spoil them, the more bastards they become. You can't give in to people. The more you give in, the more arrogant they become. You can't wait for love. The more you wait for it, the more disappointed you become. Not everyone deserves your kindness. A smoker can never smell the smoke on his body, and a person who is loved can never know how hard the person who loves him works. People who betray you, hurt you, deceive you, disrespect you, and turn against you are not worthy of your sincerity. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable, trust your feelings, which means that you are not on the same page. When facing such people, the best choice is to keep your distance. Try not to make close friends with people who are sweet talkers. People who complain frequently are definitely trash. People who are too friendly are generally not trustworthy. Strong people will not talk about their tragic experiences. People who like to post on WeChat moments mostly like to show off. And people who talk about morality and justice are generally selfish. No one can be relied on unless you are useful. In this era of cigarettes for cigarettes and alcohol for alcohol, the reason why others help you is mostly because they think helping you is good for them. There are only eternal interests, no eternal friends. Don't be too optimistic about the solidity, durability, and intimacy of relationships. Dependence on anyone is suicide. How long will it take you to understand that there is no big grass under the big tree? It can shelter you from the wind and rain, but it can also keep you from the sun. Life is full of suffering, and you can only get through it by yourself. If you have no ability, but are nice to others, and like to help others, then most people will definitely not take you seriously. They may even take advantage of and calculate your kindness and frame you when conditions are ripe. The most disgusting thing in the world is you see the hypocritical side of a person, but others don't see it, and they think he is as good as he seems on the surface. Some things take a lifetime to change. Life is not like an exam where you can get a reward for every correct answer. Reality is complex and requires us to face and solve various problems. Communication is the foundation of interpersonal relationships. If you want others to understand you, you must first try to understand others. Understanding and respect are the prerequisites for establishing good relationships. There is nothing wrong in liking someone, but the mistake is liking someone who doesn't like you. When we were young, we gave up, thinking it was just a relationship, but later we realized that it was actually a lifetime. Money is a person's greatest confidence. Only when you are financially independent, you won't see so many compromises. You won't have to be servile, and you will have the confidence to stand up straight to accept love and be loved. If you find that everyone is polite to you, it is not because everyone's quality has improved, but because you have become stronger. In this world, there is never a lack of jungle law, but what is lacking is justice. I am responsible for two kinds of people, those who gave birth to me and those I gave birth to. I miss two kinds of people, my loyal friends and my lovers. Don't think that everyone in the world is concerned about your affairs. Do you think that everyone is staring at you? In fact, everyone has their own troubles, and no one cares about your affairs. We always think that we can get happiness by compromising, making do, and tolerating more, but the lower your bottom line is, the lower the result you get. The intestines that have been filled with excrement are eaten by people, but the bowls that have been filled with excrement are washed clean, but no one uses them. Foot washing water cannot be used to wash the face, but there are many feet in the swimming pool. People need to learn to turn their faces. To swallow one's anger and to compromise are actually bad qualities. You think you are a good person who considers the overall situation and makes sacrifices, but in fact, no one will really want to thank you. They will only think you are stupid and easy to bully. You deserve it.